Welcome back to the party package. My name is Owen, and welcome back to the show. Today, we're tackling the St. Louis Blues season preview. Now, the Blues are a team that lost in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs to the Colorado Avalanche, which I'm going to get back to later in this video. This is a little foreshadowing. But what happened to this team? Why did they fail? Because on paper, this team is ridiculous. Let's start on offense. This is the best part of this team. The biggest pro I can think of. This team's offense is absolutely incredible. Now, they could do with a little bit more star power, guys that can get like 80, 90, maybe close to 100 points. But regardless of that, they've still got Kyrou, 75 points. What a star he's becoming. O'Reilly, only 58 points, not really incredible, but I feel like he's the type of player that's more of a non-points player. He's not really all about the points. He's all about it's what he brings to the game without the offense. So that's kind of all right. Brandon Saad, 49 points, not incredible, but decent. Then the second line, Buchnevich, 76 points. Robert Thomas earning that contract of 77 points. Vladimir Tarasenko leading the team with 82 points. Barbashev on the third line, 60 points. Braden Shen with 58 points. I mean, this is incredible. Klim Kostin, 9 points in 40 games isn't very good. Nathan Walker, the only Australian guy in the league, with 12 points. I mean, he didn't play every game or anything. He's kind of just a filler, but whatever. Logan Brown, 6'6", giant forward. Not a lot of forwards are 6'6". Logan Brown with only 11 points. That's a big guy right there. And Noel Acciari from the Florida Panthers, I think is a really solid addition to the lineup to bring some offense to the bottom line. But then that offense, they're stacked. Absolutely incredible. Of course, like you could maybe say oh, O'Reilly needs more points or something. Sure, but I feel like he's more about what he brings outside of scoring points to the game. Now, okay, so the question that I posed to myself is, looking at this team as I was writing down the names and the numbers and stuff, I was like, this is incredible. This team is great. I mean, offense is absolutely amazing. I mean, they're fourth in goals last year. They had fourth most goals in the league for themselves. They were 11th, which isn't incredible, but decent enough. 11th in goals against. And they were plus 69, nice, differential in goal scoring and goals against. Goals against and goals for, they were plus 69, which was, I believe it was 4? It was top May 6th. It was up there. It was pretty good for goal differential. And I was like, what is wrong with this team? What happened? This team is amazing. What is the issue? And for me, I think I've come up with the problem. The problem is their defense. Defensively, they are sound. They're sound. I mean, you've got really good players like Parayko. You've got Marco Scandella, which is But then Justin Falk and Torrey Krug with 43, 47 points. Krug only played 64 games this season, so he could have gotten more if he wasn't injured. He could have easily have gone all the way up. He missed 64, 82. He missed some games. He missed 18 games. Yeah, 18 games of the season. I mean, add those up. He could have at least gotten to, at least 50. I would say he could have at least gotten to 50. Nick Leddy, Bortuzzo. Defensively, it's passable. This team isn't anywhere special with defense, but it's passable. I mean, they got a couple stars, but not really anything groundbreaking. And then in net, I mean, Jordan Binnington, he was kind of off last season, but in the playoffs, he showed he's just as good as ever. But Binnington, to me, I think he's amazing. He is the type of goalie that when he's in the net and he's in his game and not being all crybaby and throwing his stick around and stuff, Jordan Binnington is as good as Andrei Vasilevsky, if not maybe, actually no one's better than him, but I'll talk about that at some other time. Thomas Greiss is a okay replacement for Ville Husso, I guess. I mean, when you got a guy like Binnington in net, I feel like you don't really... Greiss is a pretty solid goalie, too, so a pretty okay tandem there. And then, one thing I'd like to add is their scratches. The guys who well, these lines are from Cap Friendly. I just get them from there, so I don't have. I would totally organize this team differently, but I feel like this is more of a way that people would probably see this team more likely. But they do not have Mikola listed in the lineup. I think he would be a great addition. Replace him with Scandella with him. I feel like they kind of make the same role, but I feel like Mikola is better. I saw his play in the playoffs is pretty good. And Toropchenko, who's injured, or Prunovic was injured. Prunovic isn't. One of them are injured and they weren't listed. I think both of those guys, Toropchenko and Perunovic in the playoffs, were absolutely incredible. They were when they were playing the Avalanche, they were incredible to watch. I mean, they weren't getting like 100 points or anything, but they were getting some points. They were getting on the board, and they were making a difference. And every time they were out there, I could tell they were out there. They played their hearts out. So I would totally put them in this lineup and probably replace like Sean Walker. That's a different guy. Nathan Walker and Achari. With those guys, they would add a little bit of height, and I feel like a little bit more aggressiveness because they're trying to earn their spot on the team, and when you have to earn your spot, you're going to play a little harder. So I would put those guys in my lineup for the Blues. But defensively is okay. But what's the problem? I mean, you got amazing offense, you've got decent enough, you got a passable defense, and goaltending, you got a good tandem in there, and you've got some guys that you could slide into the lineup and they can make a difference as well. So what's the problem? The problem is that you have the team that they lost to. The currently defending Stanley Cup champions, the dang Colorado Avalanche. Now, what is the problem? What do they have to do? Is that they are everything that the St. Louis Blues are, but better. And the main factor, except maybe on offense. On offense, I would say maybe they're even. I think maybe they even out with like they having 60-point, 58-point guys all the way to the third line. Kyving evens out with like theirs. But at the same time, they have Nathan McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen, and one-year wonder of Nazem Kadri. So I feel like you've got offensively, I say they're at least maybe even. If they're both playing their hardest and you got your guys all going just as at 100%, I would say they're evened out. Maybe Colorado's a little better, but not enough to be like 100%, right? But on defense is where they run away with it. Because on defense, you had Manson, Taze, and then, of course, I mean, Manson, Taze, I don't want to say his name yet, Gerard, you've got, whatever, and Makar, I'll just say it, Cale Makar, one of the best defensemen in the world, maybe the best, I'll get to that one day. I mean, their defense was probably the best defense in the whole league, at least last year, and that is what takes them away, is that they've got a shove-it-down-your-throat defense back there. And that is what St. Louis was overpowered by. Because even when those two evenly matched offensive clashed, if they tried to get through, they had to deal with Taze, Makar, Gerard, Manson. Well, I guess Gerard was injured, but whatever. And that was, I think, their biggest problem, is that they had to deal with that. And then you go down the ice, then you got Darcy Kemper in net, who's just as good as any goaltender as well when he's locked in. So that is the problem, is that Colorado, where St. Louis is fourth in goals, the Avalanche, I think, are number one in goals. 11th in goals against. Well, the Avalanche are even better. I don't know where exactly, but they're even better in goals against and goal differential. And that's the problem, is that Colorado is everything St. Louis has and more. And that is where I see the problem. Now, this upcoming season, maybe things will shift a little bit, but I still feel like that is the main problem with the Blues. They need, personally for me, this offseason, they lost David Perron, and I think that's an okay move, because offensively, they don't need anything. In fact, I personally would get rid of maybe like a Braden Shen, or maybe like a Shen or like a Sod, and try to bring in like a better defenseman. If I was them, I would have made. It's hard to say because like Brent Burns is such a past talent, but if he can still kick and if he can still go, maybe he could add something to this lineup. They just need a more I think this team would have been great for like a Tony D'Angelo, or a Burns, or one of these defensemen that could have really solidified this core. And I think with that, and if they could use a little bit more tenacity, if they really fight and grind their way, I think the Colorado Avalanche is going to be a real thorn in their side every year when they go to the second round. It's going to be hard to say. It's going to be hard for this Blues team to get past them. So, do they make it to the playoff? I think 100% they make it again. I think they get the second place spot. They beat whoever gets the third if it's the Wild. And then the to me, this St. Louis Blues team, if they got past the Avalanche, they probably would have won the Stanley Cup. This team is Stanley Cup material. It's just they have the Colorado Avalanche in their way, and they're going to be every year. So it's going to be hard to say for this St. Louis team because they can win the Cup. It's just they got to get past the Colorado Avalanche, and that's the biggest factor. Is this team right here is gonna be their biggest problem. This is their problem, is the Avalanche, and they're the biggest problem for any team. But that's really all I have to say about the St. Louis Blues. So if you enjoyed this little season preview, pick up your free subscription down below and hitting that red subscribe button. Leave a like, not a dislike. You go down below to the comments section and leave any tangents, rants, opinions, and or other sorts of comments, concerns, suggestions, reviews, feedbacks. And tell me, do you think this team is Stanley Cup material? And if so, what do they need? Do you think they need defense, or are they screwed against the Avalanche? But until next time, I have been Owen. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.